Hey, what's up YouTube? Techie Champion here. Today I'm going to be walking you guys through the Packet Tracer Skills Integration Challenge 2.3.1.2. Now don't let the simple setup here make you think that this is easy, because it's actually quite complicated. There's a lot of advanced config here that we got to pull off on our switch. So let's get started. Scenario here: the network administrator asked you to configure a new switch. In this activity, you will use a list of requirements to configure the new switch with initial settings, SSH, and port security. Alright, so this is actually my homework tonight for my routing and switching class. So I'm going to get my homework done and walk you guys through how to do this. So let's get started here. The first thing it's going to ask us to do is configure S1, the switch here, with the following initial settings. It wants us to give it a host name. So we'll start right away. Let's open up our switch here, go to the CLI tab, hit enter a couple times. So in order to configure a host name, we're going to have to get ourselves to global configuration mode. So to do that, I'm going to type enable. Would help if I spelled it right. You can just hit Control-Shift-6 to get out of that. I'm just gonna type EN, which is short for enable. It's a little shortcut there, and then Conf-T for configure terminal. Get ourselves a global config. Alright, and in order to configure a host name, all we need to do is type the host name command. And I'm assuming that it wants us to name the switch S1 with a capital S, so we'll type host name, capital S1, and hit enter. And down here it moved to 3, so I guess that was right. Alright, next thing we're going to have to do is configure the banner message of the day thing. It wants us to make sure we include the word warning. So in order to do that, pretty simple. All we got to do is type banner MOTD for message of the day, and then you got to add a delimiter such as the £. Your message will reside inside the delimiter here. So I'm just going to type warning, do not access this this switch, or you shall die. End it with the delimiter, hit enter. Alright, move to 6, so that's cool. Alright, so we got the host name and the MOTD set. Console port. It wants us to configure a login and password for the console line. And what that'll do is it'll require a password to be able to console in to the switch with the console cable. So in order to do that, we're already in global config, so all we have to do is type line con for console 0, hit enter. That's going to put us in the config line prompt here, config line mode. It's in order to set a username and a pet. Alright, I'm sorry, hang on. We just need to set the password. There is no username for this, so all we have to do in order to set the password is just give it a password command. And it wants us to use the password Cisco. Hit enter after you type that in, password Cisco, and then just type login and hit enter. Alright, so what that does is like I said earlier, it configures the console line with a password, and you have to give it the login command also to enable that. Alright, so that's done. the next thing it wants us to do is encrypt all plain text passwords. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped a step. Encrypted enable password of class. So what it's asking us to do here is password protect privileged exec mode. So all we have to do that is type enable secret and use the password of class. And what that's going to do is it's going to it's going to protect privileged exec mode, and it's going to encrypt the password in the running config. So we'll hit enter. Alright, now it wants to encrypt plain text passwords. That's simple enough. I'm going to enter the service password -encryption command, and what that's going to do, it's going to encrypt all of the passwords in your running config file with pretty weak encryption, but that's all that's required right now in the curriculum. So type service password -encryption and hit enter. I'm going to show you guys something real quick. I'm going to get back to privileged exec mode here and just do a show run to show the running config. Enable secret 5 here. This is the the privileged exec mode password that we set, and this is the encrypted form. The rest of them should be encrypted also. See right here, this is a line password. This uses a weaker encryption, but it's sufficient for this lab. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and stop this video right now. Actually, let's just do a rundown real quick. So far we configured the host name, banner message of the day. We set up a password for our console port. We encrypted all of the plain text passwords, and we set a password in order to get into the privileged exec mode, which I'll show you real quick. I'm going to just type exit. So right here, this is the console password of Cisco. We have to enter that to get in the user exec mode. Type enable, and it's going to prompt us for that class password to get into privileged exec mode. So Cisco likes to use this layered hierarchy of security to protect their devices. It's always good practice to go ahead and configure all of your devices with passwords using this layered hierarchy here. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and end the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Stay tuned for the second video, and we'll get into this SSH configuration, and then I'll probably just make a third video to enable the security on the switch ports. Alright, so this, like I said, this is Techie Champion. Stay tuned for the next videos. Thank you.